Yo, what is up there, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. Today is the official day. It's going to be suspension install day. I've already got everything laid out for us. So front shocks are there with the reservoirs. Hardware for the mounting brackets for the reservoirs are all there. Rear shocks and the rear springs. Now I chose the, you guys can see it there, those are the C59701B. These are the long travel setup for the rears, and the fronts are the extended travels. And the part number for the coil is right there, C59354. So these are, I believe they're a heavy coil in the front and then medium, or it could be heavy. I'll double check and I'll leave that up on the description. But this whole setup here is all set up for us. Now, I do think that the hardest part for the install, in my opinion, is going to be the reservoir mounting hardware. I'm just not really too familiar with this. I mean, I've done suspension swaps on multiple vehicles. I'm not new to the area, but I'm new to the reservoirs. My buddy M, who's going to come over in a little bit, his GX has the same setup. It's a little bit different than what this is because this is a long travel setup. But either ways, we're gonna go ahead and start removing parts and follow along with the journey. I marked the lines here for the KDSS nuts, so when you open them, you know exactly how many revolutions you're turning them. So, that's one. And that's two. So again, there's a market there, you want to keep it there. One and two. So the KDSS lines are now opened. Moving on to the install. So we're starting off with the passenger side strut first. A lot of guys who does the install will forget that, or at least use a lot of difficult methods. This is the easiest way you can do it. You raise the hydraulic cylinder till it fully maxes out. And what this do is it'll allow you to release the passenger strut easily. We're going to focus on this 12mm bolt here to the brake line bracket. That should just swing right off. Bolt his nut here and remove that. That way the brake lines are out of the way. Next up, we're going to take off the cotter pan here and also remove this castle nut. We're going to break the upper ball joint from the arm here. I guess this one's already loosened out. Next up is we're going to take off the three, or at least loosen the three top of these 14mm nuts here. So once you have these all loosened up, we're going to release the bottom lower shock mount bolts. And then we'll use a punch to punch out the bolts here. Go ahead. Oh shit, there it goes. Alright, I'm gonna have M create some leverage. Let's see here, we're gonna push the upper control arm up so I can slide the strut out. Let's see here. Slide that out. Oh yeah. Yeah. Alright guys, so his front strut's already out, upper control arm still in there, tie rod still in place, lower control arm still in place. We're able to increase some leverage here to push this up and then slide the whole strut out from its place. Now we're going to put in a new strut and figure out where to put the reservoir mounts. It's either back here or over here. This will be the hardest part actually. Alright, so this part's a little bit more crucial. We have to install the adjuster rebound nut. If you guys look, it's like a hexagon kind of a shape, and on top of this is also the hexagon portion of that. This is the grub screw, so you have to make sure you thread this onto the strut, and also make sure the hex gets slotted into the grub screw correctly, because if you don't, it won't align and you can't adjust the rebound. So this is going to take a few tries to get this in correctly. So according to the instructions, it's just hand tight, so nothing too crazy, so I think that's good there. Alright gang, so this is all done. So top nuts are all torqued down, they're marked. Everything has been put back into place. Shock mounts also there. This was quite a pain in the butt, as well as these hoses, just to route them. I used the P-clamps that were included in the kit. Man, they were difficult to do, but it's done. Everything is torqued down from the upper ball joint. Also the lower shock nut, that's also torqued down. We're moving on to the other side, but for now this is complete. Looks pretty good. Alright guys, we had to really improvise here. The reservoir mounting brackets didn't work out for us, so the pictures that came with Dobinsons on their website didn't really help out. You're supposed to mount the spacer bracket along here with that, and then fit the shock reservoir inside here, and that didn't work out because the lines for the ABS were right here, and so we had to improvise and made this work to where we drilled this was already a pre-existing hole, so we put the actual bolt here along with the bracket, and then the bracket for the reservoir. This is how we have it situated. So the hose goes up and around the P-clamp in between the shock tower and the upper control arm, and then back on down. So we are wrapped up on this portion of the front suspension. Gotta go back and put all the nuts back in, torque everything back down, and then we'll call it for the front suspension. Working on the rear shocks now. We're gonna remove the top nut here from the shock, and also on the lower bolt here. I already took this, it's already kind of loose right now at this point. And then we're gonna take out the coil springs here and replace this with the new long travel coils, and so we're gonna do that, and also mount the new reservoir. I think from the diagram I saw it go from here around and then back over here, so we'll figure that out too as we go, because again we had to improvise on the front and we may have to improvise for the rear, so let's find out. Right behind the car, you also want to go ahead and remove the bolts holding on to the hard lines for the brake lines, so those all have to come out. So we're removing that one, and this one here as well. There's a bolt that's missing, but there's that one, and this one, and also back over here, and that should be enough room so we can go ahead and release all that tension from the brake line up there. Alright, so rear coils are out. You guys can see the size difference. The one to the left is going to be the regular IMS setup over here. This is going to be the C5. I'll put that up in the description. And then the one to the right is going to be the 701s, C59 701 long travels. You guys can see how much more longer these are. So we're going to have fun with these. We had to rent out some spring compressors to put these in, and we'll take them out. Now we're going to use the spring compressors to put these back into the GX. Let's move on to that now. Alright, this is with the spring compressors on to compress the spring down. We're going to go ahead and install it back into that spot right there. Right there? I think, yeah. I think that's there. Alright, this part isn't fully seated, but I think once we raise the axle back up, it should hopefully level everything out. Alright guys, rear shocks are done. we had the setup to where the hose came up over here around, and then back on the bracket down over here to hold the reservoir in that spot. And everything is torqued down. So that nut there has been marked and torqued. The lower shock mount has been marked and also torqued. And we're working on the driver's side now. Almost done. This is the home stretch. Coils are, again, once they're back in their place. And we're almost done. We're moving on. It's about 8 o'clock in the evening. It's been a long day working in 105-degree weather. It's just freaking hot. We're making it happen.
The next day.
I want to show you guys the aftermath of installing the suspension. Everything is just everywhere. Just on that table. Fans are over there. More tools are also there. More tools up there on my freezer. It was long. I think it took me and M. Shout out to M. My boy came out, stuck with me from 10 o'clock in the morning until 10 o'clock at night, putting the suspension on the GX. But it's finally done. It's time for cleanup now. But you guys can see the GX is lifted. And currently right now it's sitting outside because I cannot fit in the garage because I've already scraped it right up on top of the roof rack. On top of the ceiling there, you can see the line where it's making there. So I've already scraped that, so that was fun. So for now, the GX sits outside until I can find a solution. Maybe adding a rear bumper, I guess, or just some kind of a weight to just throw the weight back down. Suspension, it is a Dobinsons MRR setup, long travel, 2.5 inches from the front for the extended front travel, and then it's going to be a 2-inch in the back for a long travel setup. So yeah, there it is, fellas. All set up. There's the resis, the teal coils, which I like to call them the Tiffany blue. So the install is officially complete. We're all done. The vehicle, the GX is back on its feet, or tires, so to speak. But yeah, guys, the video wasn't meant to be a full install video, just because I know there's so many videos between 4Runners and FJ Cruisers out there that has pretty much the same chassis, and it goes over a full detail about the installation too as well. And so I didn't want to make this a dedication for that. I just want to highlight the key areas that were needed for the install. But the vehicle is done. I just have to go back and spend a lot of time to do some dialing in on the shocks. And so there's a high speed compression, low speed compression, and also a rebound. And those 3 areas I have to focus on. This will take some time, and I'll do a later, or a part 2, so to speak, for the review for the Dobinsons MRR. So until then, guys, if you guys have any questions about the install, leave a comment down below. I'll happily respond to that. But yeah, so until then, I will see you guys on the next adventure. Peace.